On this installment of Down the Right Field Line, we're also talking playoffs. Who's making it to the Fall Classic in 2012? And let's not forget our bold predictions. What crazy things did we come up with this time? All that and more coming up next! Well, that wraps up division predictions, and just going right into the playoffs here. Rob, any thoughts on the playoffs?
Well, it's going to be a fun season, and this is going to be the first year they have that extra wild card team, and I think that's going to make the postseason a lot different. First off, in the regular season, the fight for the division is going to be huge. It's going to be nothing that we've ever experienced. Because when we became baseball fans, I became a baseball fan in '97, the wild card was already there. So we weren't used to that division fight. So it's going to be a very interesting regular season, the division, and how that shapes up. And ultimately, as a Marlins fan, I want the Marlins to go deep into the playoffs. Having said that, with all the teams in this league and where we are currently, obviously if we make moves in the trading deadline, this might change. But I do have the Marlins squeaking past the wild card game, maybe into the division series, but they have a lot of tough teams to face, and I don't think they can make it past that. And my prediction for the World Series is actually the Tigers versus the Phillies. It's going to be a good World Series. It's going to be a lot of power, but at the same time you're going to have a lot of pitching. You're going to have some key guys that are going to be stepping up in the World Series. Now, I don't think we can have the type of World Series we had this past year with the Rangers, but it's going to be a good World Series, and I actually have the Tigers winning the World Series this year. What do you think?
Wow. Yeah, I really can't wait for this season to start. Last year we saw many great moments, whether it be the last day of the regular season or during the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to another year of all of that. And a little quick notes on just every team in general here. We're gonna see surprise teams here and there. We're gonna see teams that we'd expect, like the Rays and now the Angels and the Yankees, to make noise, and you're going to have your surprise weeks here by the Royals or the Indians or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, I think the Rangers take it in the American League into the World Series, and they'll face the Phillies. And I believe that the third time's a charm. And so I have the Texas Rangers winning the World Series in 2012. Finally, just getting rid of any doubt that they can do it. Alright, so now that we got predictions out of the way, we've got the World Series matchup for you, we're going to go into awards, MVP, Cy Young Awards. Rob, is anybody going to come out of the blue and win the MVP?
Well, flat out, the MVP fits in perfectly with my predictions in the past. The only way that the Dodgers make the playoffs is with Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp is going to have a huge season. He said that he wants to be the first guy to have a 50-50 season. 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. In a lot of fantasy leagues, he's going 1 or 2. And I think that he will win the MVP. And I don't know if he'll get to 50-50, but he is going to be, really high up there, very close. And then in the American League, there's going to be a lot of people fighting for that MVP now that you have Pujols and Prince Fielder over there. My MVP, Josh Hamilton's going to win the MVP for the American League. What? You weren't even thinking about that. You probably thought Cabrera, Pujols, or Fielder. But again, for the Rangers to win that division, they need Josh Hamilton to step up, and they're going to need him more than ever because of everything going on in that division. And this is his contract year. Next year he's going to be a free agent. Might as well have an MVP in there to, cash in a little bit. But Josh Hamilton, MVP American League, National League MVP Matt Kemp.
Well, for me, as the MVP, the National League MVP, it's going to have to rely on Ryan Braun in Milwaukee. And I think he'll get the team on his back. And he'll ride him to the playoffs. I think without Ryan Braun, the team's dead. And, I did mention they had a good rotation, but ultimately you got to score runs. And Ryan Braun's their only answer, in my opinion. So I think he wins the MVP in the National League. In the American League, it may be predictable. It probably is predictable, but I have Miguel Cabrera winning the MVP. This guy's a beast at the plate, and yes, they have the addition of Prince Fielder, but I think it'll just heighten that ability for Cabrera to win the MVP. I think he'll just bring in all those runs and just be constantly there, and I think the key for that is making it to the playoffs, which I believe they will. So we got MVP out of the way, and now we're headed to the Cy Young Award winning predictions. Rob, I'm gonna bet. I'm not gonna bet anything. What do you got?
Well, I know, Rafi. I'm really high on Clayton Kershaw. I think he's a great pitcher. He's a lefty. He's been dominant. But, I'm going to go a little different. I know I picked Kemp to win the MVP. I don't want to pick the Cy Young from the same team. So I'm going a little bit different, but it's not that far off from my frame of mind. The only way the Marlins make the playoffs, the only way is for Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson has Cy Young stuff every year. Even last year when he only pitched a few games, you saw his ridiculous stuff. If the Marlins make the playoffs, like I'm predicting in this case, Josh Johnson needs to win the Cy Young. And I think it's a hands down, it's going to be one of those that, he gets almost all the first place votes. I think everybody wants to vote for this guy, but they can't because he's never on a winning team or he doesn't finish the season. So Josh Johnson is my National League Cy Young Award winner. As far as the American League, Justin Verlander is going to win it again. I mean, when you win the Cy Young and the MVP, you're pretty good, and you're probably going to be pretty good for a long time. I think Verlander found his stuff, and he's just going to carry it on over again. And, maybe he's good for a few more years. He is getting old, but he just has electric stuff. I don't think he's going to win the American League MVP again like I predicted because Josh Hamilton's going to win it. But I still think he's going to have a really dominant season, and on that team, he's going to be really good.
Well, I guess my hands are tied. In the National League, you took the words right out of my mouth. I thought you were going to go with Clayton Kershaw. I have to agree with you 100%. If the Marlins are going to make it, it's going to be on the arm of Josh Johnson. And who else is going to step out of that? I mean, you've got, Halladay and Lee, but they're expected to do all of that. And they're expected to pitch well. So yes, you have Clayton Kershaw in Los Angeles. But the same deal. I mean, he won the Cy Young Award last year, but again, if it would almost be a disservice, it would almost be injustice if Josh Johnson does not win the Cy Young Award, provided that he has a complete year and a successful year and the type of year that we need him to have down here in Miami. With the American League, you beat me again. It has to be Justin Verlander. I don't see a Sabathia. I don't see a Lester. I don't see a Price. I don't see a Yu Darvish. I don't see a Jared Weaver. I don't see anybody else stepping up outside of Justin Verlander. For this week's Fair or Foul segment, we're going bold on you. We're going bold predictions for the 2012 season. Rob, right off the bat, what bold prediction can you give me and everybody else watching?
Well, I've already made some bold prediction early on in the offseason when we were doing predictions for each position on the Marlins. So first I'm going to do a bold prediction with the Marlins. Then I'm going to go with the rest of the league. Obviously, I've already said Stanton's going to break the home run record for the Marlins, which is 42. Going to push that aside and say that Hanley is going to be the first Marlin to be 40-40. He's going to bounce back. He's going to have a pretty good season. And, you know, he's going to be up there as far as the MVP talk is. And 40-40 for Hanley Ramirez, not that far off. The thing is his power. We'll see if it comes through this year. So as far as my bold prediction for the rest of Major League Baseball, I'm going to go with Albert Pujols, actually. I think Albert Pujols is going to play 162 games. Every single game, he's either going to play first base or DH. And he is going to be approaching the 60 home runs number. And it's going to be a fight. I have a prediction. It's going to be Pujols, Fielder, and Bautista. And kind of like a home run fight like in '98. They're not going to make it to 70-something. But I have a feeling that they're going to be approaching that. But I think the biggest thing is that Pujols is going to play every game this season.
I guess my bold prediction is Jose Bautista will hit over 60 home runs. I don't know how much over, but it's over 60. This guy's just a monster at the plate all of a sudden, and you know, I think he's the real deal. I really do, and I think he'll approach the 60 benchmark. My bold prediction for the Marlins, and it's a bit of a stretch, but I think if Jose Reyes is healthy with the hamstrings and everything's great, he'll steal over 70 bases. Yes, you heard correctly, over 70 bases for Jose Reyes. Well, before we let you guys go, just wanted to let you know that this will be our last episode before opening day. Be sure to go out to opening day, check it out. We're going to be out there. We're going to be talking to you guys. We're going to be interviewing. We're going to be just taking over. So be sure to come out, look for us. We'll be there, and just enjoy it. Tell us what you think. Just tell us about your experience, concession stands, your seats, anything you want.
The same way with FanFest, where I was walking around talking to different people. Look for me out there. I'm going to tweet the location where I'm sitting. So if you come up to where I'm sitting, maybe we can do a little interview from there. So, you know, have fun, and it's one of the most exciting opening days in Marlins history. So definitely enjoy it. Tweet us pictures from there. You know, when you're at the game, when you see something you like or anything, take a picture of it and tweet us about it so that other Marlins fans can see it, and we can all talk about it. Maybe in the show after opening day we'll bring it up and we'll talk about different pictures that people took at opening day. So look for us out there, and, you know, have a great time.
Well, that does it for this episode of Down the Right Field Line. But before we let you go, make sure to check out our random video of the week, which we like to call the Mega Big Out. Later.